Right. Welcome back, everybody, to the brain injury discussion. This is your host, Jay. Today, we are going to talk about brain injury and something new, and that's artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has been growing really rapidly, and I would say a lot of people already have ChatGPT installed on their phones, or at least some form of AI. And AI has already started to make its integration. And so maybe we need to talk about this, especially in the world of brain injury survivors, where maybe time and technology moves slower for brain injury survivors. But with that being said, sources will be in the description below. I'd encourage you to read those. Also, we'd appreciate if you like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. If maybe you have used AI, maybe you found a very good use for AI. We'd love to hear it. But with that being said, we have a lot to get into, so let's get started. So first, artificial intelligence or AI, and how does this apply to neurorehabilitation or what happens right after a brain injury? What do we know? Well, we know that it's an underexplored tool. Again, emphasize that AI is a tool. Um, and it shows promise. It shows that, yes, there are capabilities for this. There are developing uses for diagnostics and imaging, especially imaging. The human eye is only but so good, but maybe if we add an artificial eye on top of it, maybe they can find something or maybe point us to look at something. AI also could be useful in prediction models, especially for re-injury or maybe dangers. Maybe there's some things that maybe either clinicians, case managers, family members. There's some things that might get overlooked that AI might not overlook, or vice versa. Again, this needs to be considered a tool, not necessarily uh, the the decision maker itself. What we do know with AI is that it can spot small and subtle abnormalities. This has already been seen true with mammograms or, looking for breast cancer. Imagine if we put this to work looking for brain tumors. Uh, the earlier identified, the more likely someone is not only going to be able to survive, but the better the outcomes will probably be. The earlier we're able to identify that something is wrong, especially with medical imaging. But we also see that AI helps reduce medical errors even right now. AI is being implemented into electronic health records to spot abnormalities. Maybe they didn't, maybe there was something that they were trying to prescribe that AI said, wait a second, they're allergic to that according to their med list. Or are you sure you want to do that? That's a good use for AI in neurorehabilitation. But there's more. There's more we can talk about. Let's talk about decision making, okay? AI might aid in decision making, but in a clinical setting. AI, though, is not the decision maker. It aids in the decision making. Does it decision make? No. And so we need to be clear that the decision should be made by a human or by the person or the brain injury survivor, not the computer. And so AI in this turn can aid in that decision making. So, an example, like we already said, identifies abnormalities with imaging, something that maybe we don't see with our own eyes. Maybe it picks up on something way more subtle than what we can see. AI is also algorithmic, and so it can identify secondary and tertiary injury identification. So if it spots a tumor on in this case, an MRI scan, maybe they'll say, okay, what else could be going on? This can be like, okay, this is what I expect out of a tumor in this area, which you should take a look at. Obviously, AI allows for personalization of TBI treatment and management. So AI can create different options for someone. Maybe someone wants to go back to work, or maybe they have a different desire, like returning to driving. Maybe AI could be useful in facilitating that or providing more options to the individual with a brain injury. Also, AI is good for data collection and analysis. It's very fast at what it does, and it's only going to get faster the more it develops, the more it's refined. It'll only produce better results the more we use it, and also again, not to be making the decisions, but allow people to have more information or maybe more accurate information when they are dealing with a situation that requires a decision to be made. And so those are things that maybe we should consider using AI for. So let's look at the usefulness when it comes to artificial intelligence and the field of brain injury. We see that it reduces errors in imaging, diagnosis, and treatment. Obviously, there are a lot of protocols in healthcare and medicine writ large where errors do occur even in a lean Six Sigma or a like severely reduced error and very highly standardized form of practice. But errors still occur. And so the less errors, the better. Something as simple as, have you verified the allergies and uh, are you sure you want to use this because this would be a better alternative? Or maybe it would prompt you to say, these are the options you have available. AI has the ability for deep learning, so it can dive deep and compress a lot of information, especially the complex stuff and that medical knowledge. Um, a lot of that goes by the wayside. And also, it's able to collect international as well as metadata. So if we know that a certain type of injury is common, maybe we're not just looking at the United States, maybe we're talking around the world, saying, okay, this study was done overseas. How does this apply here? But it's also a high current development and research rate right now. Again, I don't think this is going to plateau soon, but we're starting to see this tool or this type of tool ramp up. Imagine the first time that someone had a power drill instead of a manual drill, and imagine how much faster someone could work. Now, when we introduce that artificial intelligence to the world of brain injury, imagine how much faster things can get. And so that's the point I'm making is that this can be useful in the world of brain injury. But when we talk about tools, we need to talk about ethics. And so there are ethical considerations we need to consider with AI. Obviously, this has been rapidly developed and built, and right now, pretty much they're unrefined products. Again, they may improve with time. I got to say that. It's still going to take time to make the perfect tool. All right. It's not going to be perfect on day one. It's not going to be perfect in the first few years. It'll be helpful, but I'm pretty sure the first power drills went through some teething problems. And there are still times where manually drilling is still a useful thing. And so, same thing with AI is that you want to make sure that the tool is useful, but also you want to make sure that it improves with time, that you continually improve it. That way, it's not just an unrefined raw product, that it is actually useful in multiple areas, not just brain injury. Right now, there's a lot of high enthusiasm about it, but there's also a lot of reluctance to utilize it. Again, technology, especially for those advanced in years, it's harder to use. Maybe they're amazed at how fast it works, but maybe there's not enough trust in it. And again, that trust has to be earned and not given. And so we got to learn to have an AI that we can trust. And again, we should consider that. That's an ethical consideration. Can we trust this to give us accurate information? Again, good question there, and that's a good ethical consideration. Obviously, there's a lot of complexity, and it's non-universal and non-consistent at this time as far as the uses and implementation. Some electronic health records have some AI into some of the processes, uh, but then again, that's why the decision making part should be a human instead of a machine. And so, but the AI could, in theory, provide more information to allow for better decisions to be made by the person themselves. And so, in a way, we got to be person centered in that aspect. Obviously, privacy and HIPAA concerns, they are valid and exist. So I would not be putting personal information into AI at this point, especially given how if there are, again, things can get hacked as well. And so just like anything electronic in life, you want to be careful about what information you put out there, especially not just on the internet publicly, like on social media, but also what you put into AI, because it might store that. And again, that's a privacy concern. So, privacy, HIPAA law, all of that is legitimate concerns. And so, be careful if you are going to interact with AI. I would not put your name, date of birth, social, or anything in there. I would keep it very hypothetical, unless you're proven, because there is an AI platform out there that is HIPAA bound. But again, like those are concerns and they're valid and they do exist. And in a way, human supervision is needed for those decisions. So AI can bring you all the up-to-date current information on um, any disease process, let's say stroke as an example. Um, but you don't want that machine making the decision for you. Again, to be person-centered is to center the plan around the person, not a program. And so human supervision with AI is a good thing, but also you want humans to make decisions, not machines. So those are some ethical considerations that we should keep into account. Again, we need to be careful with AI. We need to be careful with tools, whether they're power tools, a vehicle, or computers, or AI. So we should be careful around these kinds of tools. So what does this leave me as a brain injury case manager to conclude? Well, again, AI is new and is not yet totally refined. Obviously, there's concerns about efficacy and, very importantly, privacy, but also accuracy. Those concerns exist, and yes, they are valid. AI already has a lot of capabilities and will continue to grow those capabilities. Again, if I have a question about an obscure medical condition, if I go into an AI platform and say, tell me about this in a way that a entry level medical or a non-medical person could understand it, AI could probably do something along those lines and give you a lot of good information that you can understand. Again, that's another way that you could use AI, especially for brain injury survivors. Hey, tell me how this happened and what happened, and make it to where I can understand it instead of using complex medical language. That's a great benefit to some people. Again, new technology, it takes time, but will ultimately produce benefit. Again, AI is still fairly new, and we should treat it as fairly new. It's not like fully tested, it's not rigorously tested right now, but it does show some promise. It will eventually benefit people. And so, because we live in this very interesting and high technological time, we need to be careful with how we use things. And so that's why I caution people, don't put your personal information into AI. Um, don't, keep your privacy up to date, make sure that you're not doing that to anybody else too. But this new technology takes time, but will eventually get to where it produces benefit for a lot of people. And so we need to find those uses for AI that, again, consider it a tool, not the decision maker. It's not going to replace a person. It's a tool to give someone so that way they can use that tool to ultimately do the thing that produces benefit. But with that being said, those are my conclusions. Here are my references. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Obviously, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. We do appreciate that. And we try to put out this information weekly. We try to keep it informative and educational. We also try to keep it practical as well. And so, again, talking about AI, it's coming up. It's practical knowledge to know. Also, we'd appreciate if you put in a comment down below. Maybe you've used AI to help explain something brain injury related. We'd love to hear that feedback in the comments as well. Also, feel free to give this video a like. But with that being said, I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and don't forget, protect your brains.